Short game wise, yes, I can. Long game wise, no. No, I have not.
He's talking the long game.
They played the long game.
The long game gotta play the long game.
They're experienced and they played the long game.
No, you're talking the long game.
They're experienced and they played the long game.
Very nice.
Long game is back.
The long game is back. I wish I had an accent like Trevor Ilman. The long game is back. We're back.
Perfect.
Heavy off of Thanksgiving. We're back here. I'm Dave Gerhardt. This is Casey Ford. Each week, we talk about golf in some form here on the long game. On the long game podcast. And Casey, I don't know if you checked the stats this week, but we're up to 3 listeners in Sweden.
Well, hard to check the stats if I don't have access to them, but I
there's a
rely
reason
on you for that.
Slowly handing you the keys over here. I actually
you keep me at an arm's distance, but go ahead.
I didn't know what this was going to be like. This is just like this project has just unleashed a dormant beast inside of you. Like within 18 minutes of like hanging up the podcast, I got 16 clips translated into Swedish and French and Spanish from the long game. You
get to strike while the iron's hot, and right now it's very hot in Sweden. How many downloads do you say in Sweden?
3. We're up to 3. We're up to 3. We've crossed the vaunted. They say that most podcasts don't ever get past 150 downloads in the first month. So
really,
this is a big week for us. This is a make or break week. We're at 108 right now.
Well, let me just again plead to the people of Sweden. If you have a friend that likes golf, please spread the word. It looks like it went from 1 to 3 in the last week, so that's good news. Who do you think that was? The Parnovics? Elin?
I think it was.
Ooh, could it have been Elin?
No. I know who it was.
Okay.
It was Vic.
Just
he's not even
listening
from
over and over again.
He's from Norway. Well, no, it's Ludwig. He was listening to us talk about how he bombs it off the tee. Sorry, Mr. Hovland. I thought you're from Sweden.
It's okay. Sometimes
right.
He doesn't know where he is.
I think we're about to hit it. We're about to turn the corner. The Christmas tree is up. The elves are out. It's about to be festive, and we're rounding the corner for some actual golf. I haven't watched any golf lately, or hasn't been any on TV. Last couple of weeks I haven't watched, but this week the fellows are at the Hero World Challenge, which is in Albany. Not Albany, New York case. It's Albany in the Bahamas.
Important.
It's very important. Important detail. This is Tiger's event. Yep. What does that mean? Like, does he created it? It's his signature. Do you know what that actually means?
I don't know Well, I know he owns a lot of events. I actually used to work one of his events in a way that like IMG owns events, but it's the Tiger Woods Foundation owns and operates a bunch of events on the calendar year. I believe this is one of them, which means it's all charity based. But that's as far as I know.
All right. So it's Tiger's event. That's what everyone says. And a small field this week. They got 20 of the world's top players. And
Do they?
Didn't actually, 20. Not the top 20, but 20 of the whatever.
Right.
And of note, this week, I just looked at it when we were going through. When I asked you about making picks this morning, Will Zalatoris is back playing some golf. Are you a Will Z guy? The
back is back. Yeah, no, I'm a huge Will Z guy.
I love him.
Fun guy to watch.
I love him. I forgot that he has been out. Super fun guy. He had that. Was it last summer? He was like the 2022 year was when he was basically in the mix in all the majors.
Right. Exactly. Coming down to, I think the closest he came was that U.S. Open finish against not Fleetwood, but what's his name?
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, right?
Matt Fitzpatrick.
Just like such a impressive swing, and it makes sense why that would have so much issues on a back, especially a guy with that kind of slight of frame. So interested to see how he looks coming back this week.
Sick. He's like Jay. Like I like watching the same. He's just like little, skinny, and he just smashes the ball like JT. I enjoy watching him.
I almost enjoy more than anything watching his short putts because that's where you really, it's very relatable.
But what do you take? What is your perspective on that? Is that the yips? Is that how he putts? Is like it's people they're going to talk about it again, obviously now that he's back in the mix. But what do you think of that? I there's just no way a player of that caliber could have the yips and be putting like that in a major. I don't believe it.
No, it's hard to say it isn't the yips because if you watch it, it's not. It doesn't seem like it's consistent no matter what it is, right? It's not like a consistent takeaway way to one side or the other. It was, and it shows up sometimes and other times it doesn't. So the only thing I can kind of relate it to, and it's not even close, but the Spieth looking at the whole thing, which was like a storyline for a while. You know, those like 2 or 3 footers. He's only looking at the hole the whole time. But with him, I don't know. I don't know if that's a strategy or to me, I just like to think, yeah, that happens to us all.
I actually didn't. I don't know if I knew that about Speed. So I'm just trying to do this like as I sit here.
Oh,
he
yeah.
would not, if he has a 2-footer, he doesn't look at the hole.
Yeah, you've never seen that?
I mean, he doesn't look at the ball. He just looks
Yeah.
at the hole. It's like a no look putt.
Stare, yeah.
They got to look.
Well, he's
that
not
up.
looking at contact. Pretty crazy.
Jordan Spieth 2-foot no look.
It's pretty impressive. He hasn't done it his entire career, but I want to say
Interesting.
for the last good chunk of his career, he's done it.
Interesting. Do you think you're a better putter? Like how do you think you're a better putter than Will Zalatoris?
And no, I'm not a better putter than anyone. But that has been his Achilles heel, right?
Yeah, it has been putting. Yeah.
Well, what do we think of the greens at the Albany Championship course in the Bahamas?
I don't know. I gotta ask Janko. I meant to text him. I meant to my coach Dave. He's a big listener. Not one of the Swedish listeners, but he was just down there a couple weeks ago.
Shout out.
I gotta ask him.
Really, same course?
Same course. Yeah, they have
really.
It, yeah. They have it on the TrackMan. You can go play this course on the TrackMan. Maybe I'll go do that tomorrow. Get warmed
Awesome.
up. I don't know. And then what's funny is when we were playing in Vegas, I have no like this is me not being a moron about golf. Like I have no concept of speed, right? And we played one course and the greens were they were so fast to me. And I said, what is the speed of these greens? And they said it was 13. I said, is this like what they play on the tour? He's like, oh no. He's like, these guys on tour would have a heart attack if they played on this every week. Like
right.
Tour greens are like a solid like 10 to 11. I have no feeling. Like you could put me on a tour course and it could be 15 and I would have no idea. Or if I don't know, it should be 10. I have no feel for that.
Right. And I think on the tour, you can usually see it reflected in the scores. When you see these minus 19 scores, these aren't the most, incredibly intricate greens. And on tour, I think the hardest part obviously is just the breaks and those kind of things more so than speed, because they're, every course on tour is going to have some speed, but it's really just how difficult are the greens. So I don't think something like this that's kind of an invitational is something where they say come down and get your ass kicked by the course, right? The week after Thanksgiving.
There's 20 guys in the field. They're all out there to have a good time. Have you played on, like, do you have a putting experience where the greens were just like so fast and insane that you remember? And I'm asking you because I didn't notice this until one course in particular I played this year, but like they make a huge difference on like 4 to 6 foot putts. If it's just straight, like you literally just have to tap that thing, just have to get that thing on. It made me realize how many 6 to 8 footers I miss because of speed and judgment, where like if they're really rolling, if they're so pure and fast, it's not always intimidating on like a 6 to 8 footer, because you just kind of like got to get it started and it's going to go in. You know what I'm saying?
No, totally. Yeah. I'm the course I play, it actually has this day. I know this is an extreme example, but they have a day every year. I think a lot of courses do it, called like the Greenskeeper's Revenge. But
oh yeah,
we call it the Massacre. But we have really nice greens, and when they get them rolling, they're impossible, and it's like a scramble like event. So it's funny to think about. But when you get on the green in this, and then they grow out the rough, and everyone knows what those events are like. But when you get to the hole, they'll put them on an unfair kind of side hill, but it's not uncommon for like a good score for the group to be like a 3 or a 4 putt, because it's really just like inching closer and getting the ball to stop. And not that that's what I expect the tour to be like really impossible. Like if you hit this 12-inch putt 13 inches, it's going 30 feet into the fairway. But not that the tour is that hard, but when you do see those tournaments, like Chambers Bay kind of comes to mind a few years ago, where the courses kind of get away from them, especially in majors or US Opens. it makes me think like, is that what it's like, where it's
Totally.
almost unfair?
I love that. Like, I always have wondered, like, what is it? They lost the course, when guys like Billy Horschel just going nuts about how
Well, there's
hard
that famous example I want to say within the last year. I think it was some women's amateur event somewhere where that one hole was impossible, and it was like there was a couple 9-putts, and it was just, I think they canceled the event, or they threw out that round or something because of it.
I saw there's definitely like a Zaire golf clip I've seen or something.
Of
That
course.
looked like the greenskeeper's revenge, putting where that pin was.
Yeah, tough timing.
All right, last year's winner. Did you look?
I did. I watched.
All right, so we know that your boy Vic went back to back here. Although I had to look it up this morning, so he's won back to back years here. He's won 6 times on the PGA Tour, and this event is part of the PGA Tour schedule, but it does not count as a PGA Tour victory. So these are two kind of just
they let Tiger
fun.
do whatever he wants.
Of course. The Wikipedia said he also donates all of his winnings back to the charity, which all goes into his name, which is all some tax benefit, I'm sure. See, Tiger, sorry, I don't want to slander your guy, but
which I used to work for too, so let's keep that above board.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's for the Patreon version of this podcast. All right, we got it. So that's the event. Is watching this in your plans this weekend, or like if it's on, it's on?
Of course. I mean, as a dad of 2 young kids, nothing can be planned on the weekends, especially with a television, as you know. But I'll watch as much as I possibly can, especially like a small field like this where Tiger is involved, Dave. I'm going to be all over it, whether it's the replay at 10 p.m. at night or if I get to watch it live.
And is he's playing? This is the cat. The cat is.
He
in
is
the mix?
playing. He is playing. The cat is back.
Is there no cut? Everybody plays 4 rounds here.
I can guarantee you there's no cut.
So we're going to get 4 rounds of Tiger.
There's 4. I hope so. And again, this is his show, so he can set this up however he wants. I would expect him to be in the mix. And I think he might have a cart involved. I'm not sure. But this is a really kind of, they're playing fast and loose with stuff this week, as they always do. It's it's the top, what they say, the top 20 get invited. Obviously, if they have to go outside of that to fill the field, and then there's one sponsor exemption. And who do you think that's for?
Who is it for? I don't know.
The cat.
Charlie?
No, Tiger. He's not top 20.
Oh, Tiger's okay. I got it. One sponsor's exception.
That's what I'm saying. It's his show.
Yeah, it's his show.
And let me just ask you, Vic back-to-back champions, right? Let me ask you, and I haven't looked this up. Is marijuana legal in the Bahamas, Dave? Should we do this right now? Is Victor high all the time?
No, I'm gonna say no. I think that it's very easy for an amateur to look at him and think that
Amateur golfer?
No, an amateur
marijuana user.
Yeah, an amateur marijuana user to see that. I think that's
you just call me an amateur marijuana user.
No. I know that's not true. No,
I'm not claiming that.
I'm not claiming that either. This is Simply Safe will not be upset. Don't worry. I don't think so. I think that's how he smiles. I think he's got a cute smile. He's a good looking guy. There's just no way. Maybe I can't speak to what he does recreationally, but like the level of concentration and body awareness that you need to be a top golfer in the world, it is physically impossible to be stoned and to be that successful.
I agree. I like the discourse though. The discourse though. I enjoy it. I will say too, to back up the point that he's probably not high all the time, as some people think. He's made it very well known how much of a like death metal fan he is, and that those two fan groups, I don't think
is he really
well. Oh, you haven't heard of that?
No.
Oh my god, like crazy death metal stuff.
Don't meet your idols. Like, have you ever heard of like Jay-Z or something? Why does it have to be?
Look, he's a bird, but he can fucking hit a golf ball and make some putts. So,
all right, we got the title sponsor challenge. This is my favorite segment. I forgot.
This is my segment.
I know. I'm teeing it up.
Have you have not looked this up? I hope.
I have not looked. In our notes, It says hero (don't look).
Okay, good. So the title sponsor challenge, again, I'm going to ask Dave what the title sponsor does of this week's tournament. So Dave, go ahead. Tell us what Hero does.
I'm gonna say they're like a gas company, oil and gas.
They are a gas adjacent company, I would say. They are they're headquartered in New Delhi, India. They are one of the world's largest manufacturers of motorcycles and scooters. Did you know that,
What?
Dave?
I did not, and I don't even know how would you even Google this? Like the name is Hero. Like what is Hero?
Well, some of us don't have to Google it because we've watched this tournament a billion times before, and they have a fucking motorcycle on every tee box. But
What is Hero? What do I need to? What is Hero Company?
Hero Motor Corp, I believe, based
Hero
in India.
Company is a digital marketing company whose mission.
Nope.
I'll see how buy it.
Incorrect. The company
Hero
has sold
Me-
more than 100 million motorcycles and scooters since its inception.
Have you ever ridden a Hero?
Well, I was going to ask you, Dave. Have you ever ridden a motorcycle?
I have. There couldn't be. I wouldn't even. I don't even want to go on Splash Mountain.
I was going to say there's not a lot of saturation in the middle of that golfer motorcycle Venn diagram, right? You don't see a guy with a bag on his back going like 75
Wait.
for a tee time on the highway, right?
No. There's a perfect person in the middle of that Venn diagram of the golfer motorcycle, and it's Greg Norman.
With the hat.
I just Googled it. I just like this. There's got to be some like absurd pictures of Greg Norman on a motorcycle, and
I was trying to think what tour player is
Greg Norman.
the most likely to show up on tour on a motorcycle.
Right now, today. I don't know. I want to say like one of those guys, like a Kisner or like a Harmon.
Yeah,
like
Harmon would be. I mean, Harmon would turn the gas thing and the bike would go. He'd just stay stationary and fall to the ground.
Which tour player? All right, so they make motorcycles and cars. Great.
I guess so.
Congrats.
So I think you're 0 for 2 on the sponsor challenge.
I am. I need
again. We're penciling you in for the John Deere Classic,
the BMW,
but you're not allowed to look up any of the rest of them. So,
all right. Also, as we like to do at all tour stops this season, we like to also bring you a local restaurant review.
We call them guestaurant reviews, Dave.
Guestaurant,
because we don't have the budget to travel to these places.
No, this is so this restaurant you sent me. It's actually called Albany, Bahamas, or this is the resort.
That's the resort where
okay,
they're having the tournament this week.
Wow! So all these guys are staying at this resort, playing. Oh, what a life! Are you kidding me? These guys, there's 20 of these morons. They're going to play Tiger's event, hanging out down in the Bahamas, just living the life. They've got their kids, their family, their spouses, their side pieces, whoever it is. They're just hanging out at this place. Like, damn, it pays to. This is why, like, all this golf talk, man. Like, how good of a life do these guys have? All right, let me pull up a menu. I'm gonna look at the. I'm a grill guy. I like the poolside experience. So I'm trying to look up the menu from.
And let us just say, if you do not have access to this hotel, you may not be able to go to any of these places. But that's the beauty of the guestaurant review. It's really for a select amount of people who are looking for reviews from people who have never been to these establishments. Go ahead.
Yeah. Were you actually able to see? Oh, there's like there's 15 different menus here. I'm not. Case, I don't even think they don't even show the menu to people like us.
No. So here's what you should do: go to the concierge and say Dave and Casey from the Long Game Pod sent you. And ask him for a seat at Wave, which is the seasonal pop-up restaurant. I hope we're in season. If not, check out Aviva, which is the beachside dining experience.
There's Footprints. There's Wave. There's Footprints. There's Vesper. There's 19. There's Azusa.
Mm-hmm.
That is Vesper's beachside dining with a view. 19 is the clubhouse. Azusa is the adult pool and bar, adult only oasis. There's Bisou Bisous, which is a French patisserie. There's Revive Clubhouse and Shop, a smoothie shop, and
there's Greens and Grains, which is fresh salads and bowls. That's where you can find Dave Thursday through Sunday of the tournament.
I need some of that after Thanksgiving. I need some greens in my system. Trust me.
All right, and that
Yeah,
was Restaurant Reviews brought to you by the Albany Bahamas Resort Beach Club. Visit us today. Vacation's only one click away. Go ahead, Dave.
It's a Nexus luxury collection community. Damn, I'd like to go here. Let's go check this out. Maybe we can
Sure.
have an offsite.
Maybe next year.
All right. Shout out to Albany in Bahamas. So
Good enough for Tiger. Good enough for us.
Tiger and 19 of his closest friends. All right, we got to do a draft. There's no picks
since
this week.
the Grinder Tour that we're doing all season long, of course, we pick only the guys ranked 150 and above. That's not the case here. These are the cream of the crop. So what we decided to do is we're going to do a snake draft, so there's no overlapping picks. And again, whatever money they win this week, I know there's no real money for the PGA Tour leaderboard, but the money that they do win this week will add to our leaderboard as well. Go ahead, Dave.
Just also use the promo code long game, and you'll save 10% on your stay at Albany in the Bahamas, which starts at $3,000 per night. So
your stay of 10 nights or more.
It says permanent residents start at $5 million, and resort accommodations you can get a villa for one night for $3,000. So use that
Comes
promo
with a bank
code,
account.
Save 10 grand. Yeah, you get one of those nice offshore bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna snake draft this thing. I want you to. Why don't you go first?
You sure?
Yeah, I want you to go first.
Okay. So again, we've got 20 of the world's top players, give or take.
19 and Tiger.
Right. And we should say, if you remember, Cantlay and Schauffele dropped out a few weeks ago of this, and there was some speculation that it had to do with the rift from the Ryder Cup and not being compensated. You said there's no official money here, right? No coincidence that Cantlay is not involved. What are you going to do here without your boy?
There is money. There's a purse for this.
I know, but there's no they say there's no official money, as it's an unofficial event, as most things happen down in the Bahamas.
So they only want the money if it's like FedEx Tour points or like counts towards something.
No,
like
I'm just joking that he Cantlay doesn't want to show up to places he's not being compensated, which is the case. But my guess is there's not enough SBF in the world for him to make it down to the Bahamas.
Did you send me this clip, or did I see this clip without you? Where he says to his caddy, like, "All right, after this one, or maybe I saw it on Twitter." He's like on the tee at one of those like Hawaiian early season events, and he's like, "All right, but after this, you and me will be you and me can go get a Mai Tai." And he just was like grumbling under his breath as he teed it up on the 18th hole. It was
exciting times for Cantlay.
So good. So there's no Cantlay. Do you believe in that, by the way? Do you think there's something up there that those two, and can those two do anything not together?
I know. I don't get it. That's the only reason I would buy into it at all, is because they both dropped out. It's like, first of all,
yeah,
I've already made my feelings known on Cantlay, and you have as well. Right. I like Schauffele. I think he's kind of a choke artist, and we can get into that one day. We'd love to have him on the pod, but he's a choke artist. Great player, though. But I think I don't understand why he's investing so much of what. I mean, this is all based on reports too, but that he's investing in himself so much in this Cantlay relationship and kind of going down with the ship, I'd say. It's strange, but I guess you get him on your team too, since your team Cantlay. So congrats.
He's just like he's my Bryson holdover. He's just like my Bryson temporary. Like, I need Bryson back. That's what I really need.
I know. Well, one day.
All right, set us off in this draft, please. Go ahead. You have the first pick. You're on the clock.
Well, with such a deep field, and Victor staring right at me, it'd be hard not to take him. Again, I'm going to say he loves the course, considering he's won twice in a row. We think marijuana is legal down there, not that that's important to him. But I'm just going to go with Scotty Scheffler. I think he's the number one in the world for a reason, and I don't think he's the type of guy that's going to be partaking in all these Tiger Woods hosted events all week. He's going to be well rested, bright eyed, and hydrated, ready to roll every morning. My first pick is Scotty Scheffler. Go ahead. All right,
you can take Scotty. I gotta look. I'm so far behind. I'm $700,000 in the hole to you. I'm just gonna hammer the horses here. Like, there's no way that Victor finishes outside of the top 3 this week. So I'm gonna take Big Dick Vic.
Go for it.
Got him. All right, you're
One
up.
more. Nope. Snake draft, Dave.
Oh, snake
Like
draft. We
any
get two
fantasy
here.
draft you've ever had.
We get two. You know what? I kind of am a Max. I'm a little bit late to the Max Homa train. I think this is the year he's going to get involved in a major. I think he's due. I enjoy watching Max play, and so I would like to have him on my team for this week.
Wow. So Homa's your pick. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I'm just going to get this out of the way right now, and I want to be on board with. I want you to be on board with me taking this right now and not waiting. I'm just going to take Tiger right now because there's no way I'm watching this thing all weekend and not rooting for Tiger. I don't care that he's probably not going to finish in the top whatever. I'm not going to watch this without him on my team. So Tiger is my second pick. And then I'm going to go back with, let's see. I'm going to go with Colin Morikawa here. I'm going to say it's a ball striker's course. No real knowledge of that, but resort golf, I think he's the kind of guy you want to. I'm not so sure he's going to be staying up till 4 a.m.
No, my interest in him has just gone up and down over time. I really
Same.
liked him out of the gate, and I couldn't like him any less now. He honestly, I would bucket him in the Schauffele, Cantlay personality jar. Put him in there together.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he doesn't hit the long ball like Project Pat does, so I don't like him as much. But
This is great locker room material for our team.
yeah, this is going to be a tough look in 2 years when we got to get him on the show for contractual reasons. Are we picking three? Are we picking three guys here?
Yes. So
Okay,
you got
all right.
one more.
So your team is we've rounded out your team. You got Scheffler, the cat, and Morikawa.
Yep.
I got Victor. I got Max Homa, and I mean, look, he is arguably the greatest ball striker in PGA Tour history. He's never seen a pair of khakis that he can't sweat through. Looks like the weather's going to be actually okay this weekend for him down in the Bahamas. I'm going with the flusher Lucas Glover.
Yes.
Wow.
I love that pick.
Thank
I was
you.
just going to say when they had to replace Schauffele and Cantlay, they brought in Justin Rose, and then they said, who's really going to bring in the ratings? Let's do Lucas Glover, because that's a face you need to see sweating in HD every day this weekend on your TV.
Let me actually weather. Let me check this out. What's the weather going to be down there? This is very important. Oh boy,
I'm going to say hot.
It's going to be
partly cloudy and
sticky.
a chance of a passing rainstorm.
Yeah, it's 85. It's 85 down there today with 68% humidity. So bring out the khakis, Lucas. The flusher is in the building. So that's our squad for this week.
All right. So I got Scotty, Tiger, and Morikawa. You've got Hovland, Homa, and Glover.
I'm going to write this down for my records.
Yeah, there's nowhere else we track this.
No. There's got to be a listener. The Swedes will track it. The Swedes will track it first. All right, Case. Let's flip over to talk about the news. Why don't we do? You want to do the virtual? Let's do the TGL first, and then let's talk about my guy Jon Rahm.
Yeah, it's funny. So biggest thing that happened, I'd say in the last week, but really I think it broke 3 minutes. I sent you 3 minutes after we stopped recording last week that the TGL was postponing until next season, which was great timing, but which is funny. So everyone that listens to our episode was like, what the fuck are these guys are talking about? This thing's over. We're like, well, I think maybe they'll get started on time. Wrong. But interesting that they postponed it an entire year. No, I don't think anyone saw that coming. Right. And it is funny. I had brought up to you, what do you make of Rahm pulling out of this league? Could it have to do with something with LIV? And sure enough, that's in the news too. But before we get to that, what do you make of this postponement of the virtual league for a year?
I think it's great. I actually like much rather see this happen. This is like admitting like, holy shit, this is not close to ready. Like there's clearly already been discussion about like, how is this going to be real? Is this going to be interesting? I think given how things kind of went initially out of the gate with LIV, I think if you're a brand trying to do something new in this space, like you kind of got to get it right out of the gate. Not to say that they can't iterate on it, but like if literally the fucking building is falling down,
Yeah.
doesn't look so great. And so like to rush to put a shitty product out is not worth it, especially when you have, some of the top guys in the world involved. So great. Push it out a year. One less kind of random golf thing for us to talk about, one less thing to worry about trying to find time to watch right now. Let them get it right and launch the right way. This Jon Rahm thing is nuts though. Is it going to happen? You texted me, I was in the car, you said Jon Rahm to LIV, but then I Googled, like, this hasn't been confirmed. It's not happened. Is it happening? Is it not? What's
All
the
the
deal with
reports
this?
so far is that Rahm is mulling around a $600 million offer to go to LIV, which is confusing to me for a lot of reasons. I will say, of all the stars that either went to LIV or haven't gone yet, he's been, I think, the one that has been out there the most, saying since day one that it's not for him right then, but he's still open to it. So he has been pretty clear that this was, the fact that he wasn't shutting the door on that, made me think maybe this was a possibility. What I don't get is, I thought the tour was absorbing LIV. So why is LIV still competing with the tour? I know, and that brings up, the Saudi fund and the deal with the PGA Tour. That agreement had a deadline, I think, to get everything in stone for, the end of the year, midnight on New Year's Eve. So what does that say for that they're going out to steal one of the tour's marquee players? Does that mean that the tour's agreement with the Saudi investment fund is about to fall through? There's a weird domino effect from Rahm leaving the virtual tour to this, to what does that mean for the tour and LIV, that deal? And if that falls through, look out.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying this could be like a little
I just don't
a little
understand. As part
alert
as
for like what's going on there, because it would make no sense for him to get this humongous bag from LIV and then be like, bet I'm also on the PGA Tour. Surprise. Like, you can't do both, right?
Yeah, and they did say when they made that agreement, the tour with the Saudi investment fund, that there would be some kind of a path back, right? Though the players would have some kind of price to pay for those players. But and there has always been discussion, especially with Rahm, of how do you make the players whole that stayed and didn't take the bag, right? Is this a way for them to just kind of funnel 600 million through one of their marquee players who didn't leave at a time where it was crucial that players like him weren't leaving the tour? I don't know, but it's odd to me that the tour and the Saudi investment fund got into this agreement together, where part of the agreement was the tour and the PGA Tour commissioner was going to oversee LIV, and that has a deadline that's, to that full agreement, is a month away. And the most recent thing that happened is the LIV is trying to poach one of the tour's marquee players. It all doesn't make sense to me, and it's kind of smells fishy. And I think people are just focusing on the Rahm 600 million thing, and not what does this mean for all these other moving parts that surround it.
Right. Because even if he said yes right now, what is that saying yes? What does that mean?
Right.
For golf? I mean,
And they said one of the holdups is not the money. It's he wants to change the format and make it like a 4-day event instead of the 3-day one. It's like the same thing as the tour. So I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you it's more is going on, and there's higher or bigger implications here than just Rahm getting 600 million.
I mean, you got to take the 600 million, though.
Right. But there's
Like,
more. There's something's fishy here to me. The timing of it and why your subsidiary is, or what's going to be a part of your this new tour entity, is still competing a month before that with your tour, a month before the agreement's going to be signed.
My mother-in-law would say, but the taxes, do you know how much you're going to have to pay in taxes on that?
I don't know. Depends
Like,
on
I don't know.
Maybe not in the Bahamas. I don't know.
Tax me on the 600. Anyway, something to watch for, Jon Rahm to LIV, but I think you're right. There's something weirder. What's going on? This whole thing sucks. Like, it's just, I wish there was one place, one platform. Like you watch the NBA, you watch the NFL. Like I want to watch the golf, and there isn't.
And shout out to my guy, but that's kind of been Rory's thing since day one. He's not saying watch, he wants to compete against the best, but he just wants one place where everyone is. And I think that's what everyone really wants. And I hope they get there. And I think that's what the agreement with the fund and the tour was working towards. And I don't know, we'll see. But I will say, back on the virtual tour too, interesting move them going for the full year. I did read this, delaying a full year. I read a story that said that more than anything, really, ESPN was calling those shots because they felt confident they could get the venue and everything up to speed. It would just need to be shifted a little bit, the schedule, or just condensed. And ESPN really wanted the full schedule they'd agreed to, being so important with live rights now, and they said it's punted a year, so we're good to go. So interesting to see that the league's partner is making those kind of decisions too, and them saying we want the full thing versus kind of a partial season. So interesting.
And just like how good the majors were last year, having everybody in those four. Well, other than the Open.
Yeah.
All right. God, that just everybody having like just hey, they should just have there's 20 events for the year, and it's just a season, and we could actually watch it all. It's insane to figure out what's going on.
I think that's what they tried to do. They're trying to do with the designated events, saying here are these tournaments with significantly bigger purses. We expect. I think they only let players. They may have modified this, but they were only going to let players miss one or two of those, the designated events. But the idea is get more players competing in the best players playing in the most tournaments together at one time is the goal.
All right, let's talk about our games for a minute. Case, I actually I was home over the weekend. My home, my childhood
Did you play?
home.
I know a lot of people who played
play.
over Thanksgiving.
I do too.
Was not able to, but
My uncle came in to Thanksgiving and he said, "Yeah, I was out there this morning." And he there was a course open, and they just like they weren't even open, but they said anybody can go play the course if they want. Cost no money.
Yeah.
He went out and played.
I drove by a few courses on the way where I was heading, and it was perfect Thanksgiving scenery out there. It was a lot of dungaree golf, as I call it.
Dungaree golf.
A lot of jeans on the courses I drove by, but do whatever you got to.
There is one course. I'm up here in Vermont, and there is one course that is open all year round up here, and they pride themselves on, as long as there's not snow, which is a lot, but as long as there's not like feet of snow on the ground, they will let you go play. Yeah. There's 2 days a year you can go there. I didn't get out. I really got the itch though. I'm itching to get back in there. I have my weekly lesson tomorrow, so that's what's nice. Keeps me like on a routine. I got a lesson every week. I'll probably get in the simulator once or twice. But
now, can you practice putting at all during the winter in this indoor facility, or is that really?
Yeah. I mean, you could in one of the simulator rooms there was like a cup that you could putt towards, but it's like it's no different than putting on your on your carpet. Putting is a tough one, but I got a little practice mat. I got a mirror. I got some stuff I'm going to work on the putting. You can definitely practice the repeatability of the stroke, but I think there's just so much. I need so much help with putting on all of the stuff that like I'm going to work on my stroke a little bit, but it's tough to replicate that outside.
Can you repeat the repeatability of a mirror out on the golf course? Do you have like a full length body mirror that you can bring out? Does that help you?
Yeah. Hold on one sec, guys. Hold on one second.
Take a picture of me lined up here and then show it to me.
No, but so you can put a mirror. Obviously, you've seen guys putt with the putting mirror. Do you know what purpose that serves, though?
No, not a clue. Haven't even considered it. I see it and I go, nope, not going to be me.
I'm new on the spectrum, but putting is such a back to talking about our Will Z guy. It needs to be such a repeatable motion, and kind of like anything in golf, we've talked about like alignment as an example here before. The mirror just helps you have a repeatable, like in that Tiger Woods How I Play Golf book, where he says you want to have your eyes over the ball. Well, I thought my eyes were over the ball, and then I put the mirror down and I don't even see my forehead in the mirror. And I'm like, oh shit, this is how I'm supposed to be putting. So it gives you a bearing for like how you should stand at address. And then like a lot of those guys use it as a warm up because you kind of like lock in the right setup. The ball position is here, your head position is here, your eyes are here, they're over the ball. It's just a little tool to go back to being repeatable. It's also a guaranteed tool to look like a douchebag, putting 10 minutes before your round on the Muni course, but it is what it is.
So it's funny you say that about your eyes. Do you find when you work on that and you practice it more and you're conscious of it, you're putting better?
I don't know. I've never. This is we're gonna find out.
So the reason I say this is years ago, and there's a question at the end of this. Years ago, I was playing with a guy who on like the third hole, this was just like a fun round. He was like, line up that putter, and I did. And he goes, your eyes aren't over it. You're never hitting the ball straight. I don't know, blah blah blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? And all it did was get in my head for about 2 years. And that's all I thought about when I got over a putt. I was like, I got the line, everything, and then I made sure I stuck my eyes over the ball. And my question is, are you better off practicing the way you've learned and practiced your entire life, or because someone told you your eyes need to be over the ball, changing how you've done something muscle memory for decades of your life?
Well,
because of that.
Both. I mean, both. If you've been doing something wrong, the whole life, I think
that's
there
my
are
question.
fundamental.
Is it wrong?
Yeah, it's wrong. It seems to be there's two schools of. It seems to be.
Is it wrong for you and me? Maybe it's
your
wrong.
Eyes, your
that's
eyes
my
should
question.
Your eyes should never be over and past the ball, but it seems to be there seems to be two schools of thought that your eyes can be over the ball or slightly inside it, and that is so you can have the best eye line to the line that your putt needs to start at. Now, Harry from God knows where, who's a 12 handicap, giving you a putting lesson in the middle of your round, or I don't know who this was. Like that just is the golf thing ever. One thing that I do appreciate so much about Dave, the guy that I go get lessons from, is like, he's like, there's no one answer. Like I don't know, because everyone's body is shaped differently, is moved differently. What if actually what's happening with your putting is that, like, you're a tall dude, you're 6'3".
Totally.
What if you have a 34-inch putter and you actually need a 36-inch putter? There's just so many variables to figure out what the thing is.
Or like me, I'm 6'3". I have longer arms though than someone who's 6'3" should be. So I actually use a shorter putter, because a longer putter, I'm more into my chest, where I'm actually, my arms proportionally to where my height is lower. That's a longer story for our tall golfer podcast that's launching in a few weeks. But I think it's an interesting question, but I always wonder, like, stuff like that. I know, obviously, if you're doing something wrong, it's not like, well, I've been doing this wrong my whole life. That's the way it should be. I'm asking, like, for a pro versus, and you're a much better golfer than I am, but like a 9-10 handicapper, am I better off working on within my own setup versus doing something that maybe the pros and really good golfers focus on to shave those, when you get down to a scratch golfer, you're really just trying to shave little hairs here and there, right? So what's more important for a golfer like me?
I think in this example, I think I would take that. I think if it's a working on what you already have, if that's wrong, if doing it wrong, if the way that you're setting up right now, you set up and you aim left and you have an open putter face and you always slice your putts, like, should you just continue doing that? Probably not. And so I think, but I think you would need to see it wouldn't be like, I think the feedback is a really important piece. It's like not just doing it because someone said it. And this is, to me, why the TrackMan and having data behind this has been such an important point of, like, making improvements in my game. It's not like some guy just told me, like, aim left and do this thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. But, like, I can actually go and see that on the data on the TrackMan. And so, like, yeah, I would say probably if it's sound advice from somebody, but.
Right. To me, putting is just so much feel to me. And I've also feel like I've been told so many times in my life that once you get over the ball, you're not thinking of direction, right? You're just thinking speed. It's pick your spot behind. When you get to the ball, it's all just distance, right?
It's feel. I think parts of it are feel, but for me, the thing that's been really eye-opening, and I think this is going to be true for you also, is it's feel, sure, but it's also, you'd be surprised at how often you are not hitting the putter, the center of the club face.
Yeah.
And from long game long game, clip it. From
Thing.
long game to short game, like take any technical lesson about the golf swing that like pretty much to be good or to be successful, you need to hit the ball in the center of the face. And so for me, like putting, I'm an inconsistent putter because I'm hitting the ball all over the face. And so that would be like how somebody would diagnose it. So like, let's watch you putt. If you're just puring the center of the face every time, but you're not making putts, then it's probably going to be your aim or your speed or something else. I think that it matters a lot. And it's an eye-opening thing when you see it. When I was first shown, like, yeah, dude, look at, like, you ever seen the wear, like pros have like wear marks on their putters from putting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, how could I can't even fathom that. So anyway, I found my old putter, which is like a Scotty Cameron that I got when I was maybe freshman or sophomore year of high school.
Oh, wow.
And now that I've gotten back into golf and I've kind of like appreciated more, I'm like, this is sick. And it's cool because it's my old putter, but it's like beat up. The shaft it's bent because I've smashed it so many times when I was a former hothead. I'm thinking about getting it. I guess you can send it into Scotty.
Yeah.
They can refurbish it.
You should.
Do you like this idea, like of channeling the kind of old vibes, the vintage vibe? To take me back, like my dad got me that. It was a big deal. My dad got me that putter in like 9th, 10th, maybe 8th or 9th grade. It was a big deal. I want to have it. I want my son to have it. Should I go do it, or do I not do it because I don't want the vibes of that putter being like when I was a really shitty golfer.
But well, wait. First, is this something you're going to add back to your bag, or is this?
Oh
something
yeah,
you just want to
I'll put it in play. No, I don't.
So you're not happy with your current. Let me hear what your current putter is, and I'll tell you.
It's also a Scotty. It's also a Scotty. It just
and you're unhappy with it.
It's not that I'm unhappy with it. I just like the putter. I like having a store. Like a putter's like the club where the technology doesn't really matter as much, right? Like I'm not going to use the driver that I used in 9th grade, right? But like the wand, like I love when they hear like, JT went back to the same wand he was using, 15 years ago.
So, I mean, and I just told you, I feel like putting is so much feel and so much of that is repetition and muscle memory. And I'm a big proponent. I've changed a ton of stuff in my bag in the past 20 years. I've had 2 or 3 putters. Like I stick with one and just because I think it's that important. And it is funny. I do feel, you wouldn't think about it. I feel like they do lose pop after a while, which is a weird thing to say about a piece of metal hitting a golf ball very slightly on a green. But when I go back and feel my old ones, I'm like, oh yeah, this doesn't have a lot of pop off of it or explosion off the face. But to me, it's all feel. And I've thought a lot about refurbishing them, sending them back in just to see if I can recapture some of the magic, because it is like, I wonder if you can get that pop back in some of them, because I had to move on from my old putter I had for about 10 years and I moved on to a new one about 4 or 5 years ago. And I still don't feel great about it. But when I go back to the old one, I'm like, this doesn't feel right either. So, but I would encourage you. I think you should do that. Chronicle your journey.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to send it in. It's pretty cool. It looks like you can get a lot of stuff done to it. Like,
yeah.
A
lot of customization. It's cool.
I'll keep you posted. I've been going down a little bit of a vintage club path. Not in like a collector's sense, but there's this movement of playing with older clubs. And I want to save it for a future episode, but that kind of like is in this same vein of like, oh, interesting. And so I'm gonna bring the putter in.
I will say I got into this a little bit this summer too. And the one thing I will say, it doesn't matter if you're out there playing vintage clubs if you're playing new balls. So when you buy a vintage club, you got to buy the old balls, because otherwise you're not experiencing what you think you are.
I don't necessarily want. I want vintage. What I want to do is I want to like rebuild my high school. I want to rebuild the clubs I had in like high school and play that bag. And
you're not talking like hickory.
No.
Like,
come on. What are
you
we
want?
talking
You're
about?
talking vintage. Vintage to you is 2001. Like Big Bertha.
I want the Titleist. I want the Titleist.
Whatever.
Yeah, the Titleist. I want the Titleist 97D driver. I want the Callaway. Steelhead
TaylorMade bubble.
The TaylorMade bubble. I want the Ping i2 irons. Like that. That's the. I'm not saying I won't get to the persimmon. That I also want to do that, but I think that would be a cool thing, and I want to try to convince the guys that I play with regularly to each do something similar and play some rounds with that set and see how we do.
So you want to be probably 50% of our audience is dads that play twice a year and just have these in the garage and be like, what are these? I don't know. it's a collection of, this is a Big Bertha X12 5-iron I found on a fairway somewhere. That's what you want. Just a 90s, content with it, not getting any better. Don't need to invest money in it. Set of clubs.
And I thought I had those in my basement, but so I went home this week, I was all excited to go see what clubs were down there, and they're all pretty much gone. So I'm literally on eBay trying to find myself a Titleist 97D 10.5 degree stiff shaft driver right now.
They're like, Dave, yeah, some like 65-year-old guy broke into the house and all he took was your old early 2000s clubs. That's the only thing he saw of value in your house.
He's got 2 dozen of those TaylorMade gel balls.
These old dads, just, that's all they care about. They don't want money, they don't want jewelry, they just want X12s.
All right, let's go to in or OB. You go first this week.
Yep. Again, this is our buy or sell. I'm going to ask you, Dave, using props to shit talk on a course, is that in play or out of bounds for you?
Using prop, like what could that even mean? Using props to shit talk on a course.
Well, everyone talks shit, but taking it a step further. I feel like, Casey's that guy. He brings props to a course. Is that
like? I don't even know. That doesn't even
I'll tell
register
you what, so
in my
this is
brain.
one of the funnier stories I can remember. But for years, my dad and his friends play weekend golf all summer long. Same crew for a long time. But they play like a Nassau with junk, but they also play the game Snake. Do you know the game Snake? So Snake is whoever 3-putts first in the group. The most recent person to 3-putt is the Snake. And then at the end of the round, whoever is the last person to have 3-putted is the Snake. And that person knows like whether you're doing a post-round tab or whatever, whether it's a side bet, whatever. So you don't want to be the last person to be the Snake. Someone could have it on the 7th hole and then no one 3-putts the rest of the day, and it's them, and they're so every long 2-putt someone's about to have, there's a lot of anxiety or excitement. So my dad and his friends would play this, and they actually got to the point where they would bring out rubber snakes and throw them on the green as people were lining up, long comebackers for pars or whatever. And they would hiss. They'd go, tss. And at some point I said, this isn't golf, guys. This is some kind of other sport. But let me ask Dave, what do you think? Using props. Does that help explain?
The first time
I'm not talking about what like the Bills fans threw on the field against Brady a few years ago. I'm talking about rubber snakes.
Similar. Did you know this was going to happen, by the way, when it happened? Like,
I knew they would play this game Snake, but one time when I played with them and they had the rubber snake, I was like, this is a little bit too far. And the hissing.
No, it's too much for me. It's funny. Is it funny? Is it silly? Does it play well for a podcast like this? It is. I'm just a simple guy. I like to be out. I don't even like all the golf. I don't even like all the golf games. I don't like all the additive stuff. I like simple gambling games. I like simple golf, like 4 good people. We throw 2 balls on the first tee. We play 2 ball, 2 versus 2 best ball. We do it on handicaps. We go play. We have a good time. I don't like anything else that's additive of that. I will say, if it's like your dad and his friends and they like to fuck around and joke and like it's you're playing some like special, you're out in California, you're out at Coachella or whatever, you're going to play golf a day before or something like that, and they come out and they throw the snakes. That's okay. That's
very relatable. Yeah,
it's very relatable. There is one related game that one bonus game that we do play though is anytime somebody is anytime you have to be on the green, but you can call out 32. If you're putting, it means I'm betting that you're going to 3-putt. And
that's not too far away. Like, no, I never heard of the snake game, but we have this worse game.
So if you're like 50 feet away, I can say 32, and you get, if you 2-putt it, you get a couple bucks, and if you 3-putt it, I get $1. So that is a little bit.
So that's better than hissing, I guess.
The thought of like going to like Party City and like buying 6 rubber snakes and putting them in your golf bag does seem a little bit more.
Wow. That's funny. I like that though. 32.
Yeah.
Or is it whatever money you're playing for? Or is it always $3?
You could come up, you could come up with a dollar amount. It does feel like shit though. It doesn't feel. It's like, what do you mean I'm not gonna 3-putt that? Or somebody say I would have 32'd you, but you were on the fringe.
Well, that's the beauty of Snake, where it's unspoken, right? Like everyone knows it. You don't even need to say it. It's just that kind of build up. They're like, ooh, here we go. You know, like the Ryder Cup kind of crowd thing when you're away, right? You hear like the bad first putt, but the crowd just does that. Ooh.
How good, that was the best one. Hats off. All right, shit talking with props on a course.
What do you got?
That's
You're calling OB on that. I'm agreeing. Go ahead. What do you got for yours?
A lot of people. This is the golfers are torn on this one. What is your opinion on? Are you a music on the course guy or not? Is that in or OB?
I'm not. And that gets
why
back,
did you laugh?
Well,
why did you laugh?
There's a lot of reasons I'm laughing. One goes back to last week. Not that funny, but we were talking about the difference between cart golf and walking. I feel like that's a big.
Oh,
there's a reason these speakers have magnets, right? That's because it's cart golf.
Cart golf guy has Jimmy Buffett going like blasting when we're like driving to the first tee, and he's like, "All right, ready, let's have a good day, boys."
Yeah. The reason I was really laughing though is Dave and I had the pleasure one time. Can I tell this story?
Yes.
Dave and I had the pleasure one time of playing a round of golf with former Providence College basketball coach Ed Cooley, current college basketball coach at Georgetown, right? And it was just quite a day. There's I don't even know how many of the stories you want me to tell, but basically we got into this really nice golf course in Rhode Island. The course completely to ourselves. We get on the first tee, and he says, "Do you guys mind if I play some music?" And we're like, "Sure, no problem." And he puts on his phone Mary J. Blige, Pandora, for the entire 4.5 hour round, just blaring Mary J.
Wanna
Blige.
be with you, wanna be with you.
So like the question of like music on a golf course is not even it's a different question. It's like Mary J. Blige on the golf. I can't think of a genre of music that would be more confusing to play during. I wouldn't say better or worse. I would just say confusing. Like you talk about a rhythm, it is R&B, but it was a wild day. It was an awesome day. Shout out to Ed Cooley.
I also feel like he didn't have I don't even think he had a speaker. I think he just like threw it on his phone.
Oh, his phone, back pocket.
Phone in his
and
phone
like
in his
as
back
loud
pocket.
as the phone can go. As loud. And not a course where you would think like you'd have anyone playing music loud. It's pretty nice.
And it was you, me, and my dad. And it was like there's not a chance in the world he had heard any one of those songs before.
No. I don't know. I hadn't. I'll tell you that much. I had a few.
Well, speak for
I've
yourself.
been to a few Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige concerts where I timed it where I showed up right when Jay-Z went on and not Mary J.
I'm a deep cuts like R&B guy, so I can't necessarily agree with that. But that was an incredible moment. There's that brings so the Cooley story is great, and we'll have to. I'm sure
that Cooley story great. There's a lot more.
We also that same day we also were supposed to play at one course and it was booked wrong, and so we had to go and we sat and waited with him, and we went to just like a Dunkin' Donuts just like in the city of Providence,
downtown Providence. Yeah,
and
held court with him for an hour in a Dunkin' Donuts.
This guy, put Providence College kind of back on the map, is a very well-known figure in the area, and it's me, my dad, and Casey just sitting there waiting out like to find a course to go to. He's calling, whoever. No less than 5 people came up and, patted him on the, "Hey, love what you're doing for the program, Ed, big fan." And we're just sitting there. I'm sitting there in my, my shorts and my FootJoy socks and my flip flops being like, what planet am I on right now? What is happening?
My biggest takeaway from that day, I think I told you, was that he could run for mayor or or something of Providence. Yeah. Like he was kissing babies, taking pictures. I feel like a police detail, like just like all of a sudden surrounded him, and there was like a line. People, it was incredible.
And
It
we're
couldn't have
talking
worked out
about
better.
we're talking about Providence College here, right? What that
Yeah.
made, this guy's on the phone. He's got an assistant, and he's like, "Hey, we couldn't get on this course. Can you get us on like in the next 20 minutes at this other private course down the street?" Boom, we get out and we go. This is Providence College. Like, what's happening? With Kentucky or Nick Saban in Alabama. Like that just when I see little things like that at that level, I'm like, what's the like super max version of this? Because that was an insane experience.
And one of my big regrets in my life is he invited us both to a recruiting pool party at his house that weekend. We couldn't make it, but that would have been a show.
I totally forgot about that. What
Like
would we
like
have
he
even
got a
done?
game at Dom Pagnotti's house, I bet.
It's related on the music front. I played in Member Guest 2 years ago at a friend of mine's place, and we were playing these guys, big, huge, big guys. These guys, big drinkers, big smokers, big men that do golf. Right? This guy had the speaker on. No joke. He had Katy Perry radio on. Like it was just like they're just blasting out of his car for
Psychological.
nine holes in this like 9-hole rotational match.
Yeah.
I
Answer your
love that
question. I like quiet.
Me too. That's why I'm out there. That's what I'm out there for.
Exactly.
That's what I want. If I'm in a resort, if I'm doing the like Vegas golf thing and I'm riding with somebody and we have music on in the cart, like that's not gonna ruin my round. But I like the quiet. That's what I'm out there to do.
Be a good move like if you've got a good group with like a weekend group with some guys your age, just on the first tee, be like, "You guys mind if I put up the Bluey soundtrack real quick?" Or
Bum,
you guys cool
bum,
with Baby Shark?
bum.
It's like, no, I'm here not for that reason.
You guys cool if I put a podcast on? You guys cool if I listen to Joe Rogan while we go play? All right, do you have a make the case this week?
I do. I do have a make the case. So, and let me just say thanks to everyone for their support for my idea last week of a tall guy section or tall person section at concerts. But this week, I will move to something that does affect me from time to time. Dave, it's probably been a little bit since you've been in a crowded Starbucks or a Starbucks. I want to say you're probably in some more brick and mortar Vermont places now, but you can remember the days where you were battling the mobile pickup line at Starbucks, right?
Yeah, it's worse than waiting in line now. Yeah.
Yeah. So my idea is we need to create some kind of Starbucks SPD, I'm going to call them, a special mobile order unit. When you go into a Starbucks and there's 400 people crowded around this side table where this one woman's just reading off names and they're just blocking access to the table, why can't we have some kind of police officer that comes in that is able to issue like citations for this is kind of an idea I had too for the airport for the boarding lanes when people line up or clog that area. Why can't you get a speeding ticket? Why can't you get a walking ticket or like a clogging ticket? So my idea is we need some kind of Starbucks SPD police force for, again, special mobile order unit. And they issue citations, suspensions, bans. You can get banned from Starbucks for a week. You need to keep that lane open. Good behavior. Maybe you get discounts and stuff if you go, I don't know, 6 months without a citation or whatever. But that's my idea. And if I haven't already given away that I'm a masshole, I probably just told him myself. But that's my idea this week, Dave. What do you think? You're torn.
I'm torn.
You don't like my idea of being issued. I've said this forever. You should if you're walking on the wrong side of the road or the wrong side of the hallway, or you're just standing in the middle of a crowded sidewalk, like standing on your phone or texting, you should be able to get like a $15 ticket. Like someone should be able to, like a parking ticket, same thing.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I'm the guy that walks on the, like at the airport, I walk on the runway, the escalator, the moving escalator.
Right.
Some
That's
people
fine.
just stand right in the middle of that thing.
That's a choice, right? I'm talking more like you're forcing you're standing and blocking my way, or you think you're more important than anyone that you need to you need to stand here and wait for your coffee, so no one else can
Yeah.
even get up to check if their coffee is in front of you.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And I all right, fine. I'm with you. I vote for it. I'll fund it with tax dollars. I
Fund
think
the
the bigger
police,
issue,
says Dave Gerhardt.
yeah, fund the
Put that.
police in Starbucks. That will go. That should really catch on. Fund the fine, but I think the real issue is that the Starbucks is this is not like do you remember like 5, 6, 7 years ago working in the city or whatever? If you did a Starbucks mobile order, your coffee was the only damn coffee at that mobile order, and you'd walk in and you'd grab it and you'd pick it up. Now it's like become that's
Moses,
the
pardon
only
the seas.
and like you're looking at all these people in line like you morons. I know how to use the app,
Yep.
baby.
It was like TSA
Now-
pre-check was like that for a bit.
It totally. It's exactly. That's a good comparison. Now that's like the default ordering mode. I think the real issue is like that they don't adjust the pickup time, and so like you think that you're going to press order on that coffee and you're just going to show up and it's going to be there, and they don't factor in the 1,000 other orders that.
Yeah, they need to get together with Waze. I'm with you on that. Sometimes there's nothing more that will make your heart drop more than getting into a Starbucks in the morning and you timed it well. Like I've got a 30-minute walk or a 25-minute walk to my office as a Starbucks, 20 minutes away from my house right before I get to work. If I time it, it's ready, blah, blah, blah. But when you walk in there and it's crowded and then someone yells like, we're running 25 minutes behind pickup time. Like, oh my God, I could have.
And that's Starbucks time. That's not real time either. That
I could have stayed at home and practiced my putting in a mirror for another 25 minutes, right?
No, you would have. No, you wouldn't have. You would have stuck to your ways and not taken advice from that. From
Has your
that
wife
guy.
ever walked in on you staring at yourself in the mirror holding a putter?
Oh yeah. She actually, I think it was maybe for my either our birthday or anniversary last year. It wasn't holding my putter, but she made for an entire
this going?
year. For an entire year, she filmed me doing like my takeaway rehearsal. Like in all different, like I would be like cooking eggs, and like while the eggs were cooking, I would take the spatula and like.
Oh, really? Just
practice
like when you weren't noticing.
Not for my own enjoyment, like not for any like the most. I'm like in my sweatpants and slippers in my house,
That's
and
hilarious.
she had taken videos like for a year and like did like a reel about it for my birthday or something.
That's so funny. It reminds me a few weekends ago, I was out at a bar and I got talking to this buddy of mine about golf, and he started doing something like a swing, like showing me something. And I stopped him. I go, you got to stop. You don't know who is recording you right now. You're going to end up on some TikTok that you don't even find. It's like, look at this dad at this bar practicing his swing. It's
Right.
Scary times out here for us dads.
You're gonna be on Zyre Golf, like rehearsing your takeaway in the airport.
Yep.
All right. Send us. We didn't get time to get to listener emails this week, but keep them coming. Long game.
Yeah, we got to get through them too.
longgamepod@gmail.com. Case, always a pleasure sitting here chopping it up with you. Look, I'm going to be the best part about this pod is I didn't have a reason to watch the Hero World Challenge other than Lucas Glover was in the field. Now I'm going to be in there. Tiger's back. I'm excited to text you through the weekend and see how things go this weekend. And if you happen to be around the Albany Resort in the Bahamas, feel free to send us a screenshot or write us and let us know how the Bosu grill was.
Rory, come on the pod.
He's talking the long game.
They played the long game.
The long game gotta play the long game.
Their experience and they played